Well, you see, Chip, me being a smart individual who pays attention to these things the last few, since the dawn of time, really, since the dawn of the playoff era, I was saying that Cincinnati would not be in the top four tonight, and Cincinnati will not be in the top four at any point unless everybody else loses, because the committee's goal is to put Power Five teams in the playoff. Bud told me I was wrong. That coward who's not here said that Cincinnati would be in the top four. And then on Monday, Danny jumped on too and said, yeah, no, Cincinnati's on the top four. They'll be there. So we had a little show bet between those two and me. And number 6, Danny, number 6. Alabama's at number 2, though, because we know the committee loves to reward the Cinderella, the underdog.
So, all right, Georgia 1, Alabama 2, Michigan State at 3, Oregon at 4, Ohio State at 5, Cincinnati at 6. That is your top 6. You also have Michigan at 7, Oklahoma down at 8. We can get into that a little bit. Wake Forest at 9, Notre Dame at 10. I want to start with Cincinnati. It was a show bet. That's got to be the first place. Danny, I'm sorry to blindside you with this news, but Cincinnati at 6. Are you surprised, disappointed? Where does it fall for you?
Just so the listeners know, I boycott the rankings. I don't even want to watch them because I don't want to get too fired up. So I actually had a nice, lovely date with my girl Kendall Toole on the Peloton, which is why I'm a little sweaty still. I was like, I'm boycotting it, and hopped in the shower. First of all, let me say this. I don't even know what the bet was for. You could say it was for 10 grand if you wanted. I didn't check. I felt that good about it. I know I wouldn't pay. Trust me, you'd have to track me down. No. But I don't know what the stakes were. But I am truly it just once again, like, Tom has always been ahead of the curve saying they have no chance. To be fair, I think both Bud and myself both said, well, they're not going to be in the Final Four, but they have to respect the fact that they had wins on the road against Indiana and Notre Dame, and they've run the table. Like, there has to be something there. And I thought they would drop them from 2 to 4. Like, I thought 4 was where they were coming in. And the fact that they have them even 2 spots lower than that, it's embarrassing. Like, it's really like I'm having a hard time holding back. And the reason I don't watch is because a lot of the guys that work on the show and the people that work ESPN, I like, and it's not their fault. They've been given a task to find the 4 best teams, which really should be, we want to find the 4 teams that'll make us the most money. Like, I mean, that's what it boils down to. I think they it always just so coincides that they just so happen to be those 4 best teams, the bigger brands with the bigger fan followings that will rate the best, which I think is incredibly damaging to the sport. Every year I get fired up. I try not to get fired up. I didn't even watch. And then I come plop down and you guys jump this on my lap. And it's like, oh my gosh, the blood pressure's right back up.
I want to be clear. Well, Bud probably thinks he owes me 10 grand because that's how much Bud bets. The bet was for beers. You both owe me a couple of beers.
Perfect. That's even better. Really I love it. That's my kind of bet.
But no, I'm 100% with Danny. The only reason I know what the college football playoff rankings are before the final week of the season is because I have to. Like, if it wasn't for this podcast or for our jobs as writers and all this kind of stuff, I couldn't care less about this. This is a TV show. These rankings don't mean anything. And it's going to all play out as the season goes along. I view it as a comedy in that, Danny, I don't know if you know the full rankings yet, because I think spending time with Kendall on the Peloton is better than watching this show too. But Mississippi State is ranked 17th, 5-3. And before the show,
Can I guess something? Mm-hmm. So I was going to tweet this as I was on the Peloton. I would be willing to bet another pretty large amount. I have not seen the rankings. That the highest ranked undefeated SEC, highest rated 1-loss SEC, which I already know for a fact, highest rated 2-loss SEC, and I'm guessing the highest rated 3-loss team is an SEC team. Am I accurate on there? Is there a 4-loss team? Maybe there's a 4-loss team in there because their 4 losses are probably super impressive.
But you're 100% right.
Arkansas is not ranked.
No, but Mississippi State is at 17.
Right. Mississippi State
Wisconsin's ranked at 21. Wisconsin is ranked.
So the Mississippi State case is one of my favorite profiles because it has good wins and bad losses. Mississippi State has wins against Texas A&M, Kentucky, and NC State. Like, that's what it holds up. Like, he says, I really hope they only ask for 3 because that's all I've got. Because then after that, it's Vanderbilt and Louisiana Tech. Its losses, however, has after Alabama, you go down to LSU and Memphis, which makes Mississippi State hilarious because it has beaten Texas A&M, Kentucky, and NC State while also losing to LSU and Memphis, which tells me that in this balloting, they don't care about your losses in terms of like the quality of them. All they care about are how many of those quality wins that you have. And NC State made it up in the top 25 as well. Did Kentucky? Yeah, Kentucky's at 18. So yeah, those are 3 wins against teams that were in the top 25 of this set of rankings.
Now,
if they care about your wins, then why is Wisconsin ranked?
Yeah,
okay. Wisconsin. Oof.
Well, they just beat Iowa.
They beat Iowa, which is ranked below Wisconsin in the rankings.
Boy,
but your other wins, I mean, was it the Eastern Michigan win, the Army win, or the Purdue win really tipped the scales? Because here's the thing. Wisconsin has played 4 teams in these rankings.
That is a great
Iowa, and they lost Penn State, Notre Dame, and Michigan.
I'm afraid to say that Wisconsin might be a quality loss team, and it's not even as quality as I thought it was going to be because Penn State's not in the top 25.
Yeah. So, like, if I'm choosing one of those 5 and 3 Big Ten teams to rank, I'm ranking Penn State ahead of Wisconsin because who do you think winning that game?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we know who won that game. It was Penn State.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And Penn State's loss came, they lost Iowa. We talked about it. They didn't have Clifford for half the game. Clifford was less than 100% in the Illinois game. And that Illinois loss is the reason that Penn State's not in the rankings because
I do give them credit though for honoring the head-to-head of Oregon versus Ohio State. Like that's the one thing that you look at, which I think is probably why you saw the precipitous drop from Cincinnati, because they were probably bullish on Ohio State as of late. And then they're in that position of, man, it would look really stupid if we had, Oregon behind Ohio State, even though the AP and everybody else had it that way. So they were, we better put Oregon way up there because Ohio State's not lower than 5. So it kind of, and then what do you do with Cincinnati? You just drop them past everybody.
You have to have Cincinnati behind Ohio State if you're going to have Oregon at 4, though, because you have to have that counter. It's like, yeah, but Oregon lost. And you can be like, yeah, but they beat Ohio State, which is higher ranked than you.
Yep.
Can I give you a shot and chaser for Oregon? Congratulations, you're in the top 4. But what does it say about the Pac-12 and what you have ahead of you when the best wins on your resume are Ohio State and Fresno State?
I don't think it'll matter.
As long as they win. You're saying that, I mean, obviously.
Yeah, as long as they win out. Assuming they win out, I don't think it'll matter. I think it'll be 4, like they'll be dicey. But I think if they win out, they're in. Do you know what this is setting up for? I just want to prepare you guys for this. Because I think there's a lot, like we've seen parity this year. And, I just read a couple articles about Georgia and then, maybe Bama's still in that tier, even though they lost, but there are a bunch of okay teams. I'm telling you, if Alabama runs the table and plays Georgia and loses in a close game, they're in. I'm preparing you for this. I'm telling you, if they lose in an ugly game, close game, shoot, it might even look like Georgia Clemson, like 10-3, just 13-10, low scoring, great defense, and a last-second field goal. I'm telling you, they will not hesitate to say, man, did anybody else look as good as Georgia did against Georgia? Whew, they must be one of the 4 best teams. I actually hope it happens. I will root for it to happen because every year I root for the playoffs to be exposed for what a sham it is. And this ranking is the first start of it, and it's only going to get worse.